Flosstube, I hope all's well. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty here on YouTube and also on Instagram. It is Saturday, May the 4th, 2024, and this is Flosstube number 28. It's only been 3 weeks since my last Flosstube, but we're getting to that time of the year if I leave it for a week and, anyway, so I'm back. I hope you're well. I hope you've all had a good May. We had a very quiet May with the exception of 3 things which all happened on the same weekend, which I think is commonly known as Sod's Law. So Friday I went down to London, met with a couple of friends, and we went to Loop in London, the yarn shop, and had lunch. I'll talk more about that when I get to my knitting section because obviously there's haul. And then on the Saturday it was my mother's 84th birthday. So we, my sister and I and our partners, husbands, and actually my eldest was at home, bizarrely enough. So we all went out for lunch, took her out for lunch. She was informed she was going to become a great grandmother. So my sister's eldest is expecting her first, which is all very exciting. So we had a nice lunch. And then on Sunday, John actually ran in the London Marathon. He got a charity place about 12 weeks prior to the race. His sister had applied for it on behalf of a charity, had no intention of running it. So asked her son to run it. He, for various reasons, wasn't able to sort of complete the training. And so John said he'd take it because he likes running. He's already run one. He would have liked to run the London Marathon. And so he did it. And I think he came in on 4:27 exactly. I went down and watched. It was a really great day. Didn't spot him once. Not once. But yeah, it was good. It was great. I mean, I knew London was going to be busy. Hadn't realised quite how busy it was going to be. But it was fantastic. Everything worked. Everyone was friendly. It was a great atmosphere. All the volunteers, were so friendly and helpful. The police were all in good form and friendly and helpful. Yeah, it was definitely something I think I probably wouldn't go unless I knew somebody who was running. But yeah, if I know somebody else that's running, I'd sort of go down. But I'd go down far more of a plan this time and go, right, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. And sort of, because it was a long day for us. And it was quite hard work. I did feel like I'd run a marathon, even though I just sort of walked from place to place and jumped on tubes and things. So that was it. And other than that, it's been gardening in amongst the showers. May bank holiday, it's the first bank holiday in May this weekend. We always go up to Derbyshire, a whole load of John's family, and we just do walking. So we're going up there tomorrow. We're just going for the day. They tend to go for the weekend. Next weekend I go down to badminton, so I'm staying with my daughter. My sister and her middle daughter are coming across. So we're going to have a nice jolly weekend at badminton, which it's big horsey 3-day event thing. Which is down near Bath. And then I think we're going to be into blackgrassing season. The joy that is walking up and down the fields, weeding them. But there we go. It rolls around very quickly every year. Right, stitching wise, actually I've got stitching, quilting and knitting to show you today. I won't bother to show you my crochet scrappy blanket because I've put another couple of rows on and that's it. So cross stitching, I did work, I'm pointing over there because my Elizabeth Bevan is on the stand. I haven't brought it over because I've only done a very small amount. That's the one that I'm supposed to be putting a thread a day into. Don't seem to be keeping up with that. But I do still enjoy sitting down and working on it occasionally. So what did I pull out? I pulled out the Long Dog Samplers quilts, which is this. And I think I said last time I'd got down to this, I'd finished this section, so I either need to do the border or do the middle bit, but I didn't think I'd get both done, which I didn't, obviously. I probably could have done if I'd have worked on it all month, but I don't like to say the word bored, but yeah, a little bit bored. So what I did was I actually completed the border. So hurrah, that's it, that border. I mean, it's very easy, but it is very long-winded because you are changing colours every about 9 stitches. And there's no real, I kept on trying to find the pattern in it and I couldn't. So you were having to look and check every time that you were using the right thread and the right colour and the symbols. And I've come in and just started along here because I thought, for some reason, I thought up here I had made a boo-boo and I was one too low. But when I got down to these corners, it matched exactly. But I'm not 100% convinced I haven't... Sorry, I've just got a message from John. Sorry, I'm not 100% convinced I haven't lost a stitch here. I lost my train of thread completely there. Sorry, John's been up in Scotland for the week, walking on the Cape Wrath Trail, and he's coming home today and he's just sent a message saying that the A1 isn't moving, so there's obviously been a big crash on that, sadly. So anyway, yeah, I thought I was a stitch out. According to the border, I'm not a stitch out, but I think I started here and I'm just going to work my way up to doubly check. But essentially, this month, get back on track, girl, get back on track. This month, I'm going to try and work this until I finish it. Regretting that statement already. But no, I probably will try and work this until I finish it. So I've only got this to do. The quilts are going to take quite a bit of time because they are patterned, but again, easy block patterning, not confetti heavy. So that's the quilts, and that is being worked on it's 27 count antique white Zweigart, because it's got the orange stripe and that's all I know about it. Yep, so that was that one. Then I decided to pull out a piece I hadn't worked on for ages. So last year, if you're new here, last year I sort of whittled my whips down to just 3 or 4 that I really wanted to concentrate on. I had one that I'll just have finished by September, the Morris Dancer, which I did do in blood. So there were about 10 whips in my basket that I didn't touch at all last year, which I knew I wasn't going to, and I was absolutely fine with that. But it has taken me a little bit of time to get back into picking them up. And I like them all, but I couldn't seem for a while to settle on which one I wanted to pick up. And I think actually having picked one up, it's because I've left it for so long, I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember if I've made any mistakes. It's getting back into it. Having picked it up and got back into it, I've thoroughly enjoyed it and really struggled to put it down. So the one I'm talking about is the Tall Ship sampler from the sampler company Brenda Keys. So this is the design. Now I started this, I think, at least 2, if not 3 years ago. I'm going to do it as a memorial piece for my father, who was hugely into his sailing. And I think I am working this, I can't remember now, but I think it's probably a 27 count, just Zweigart, antique or cream. So here we are now. Now you haven't seen this probably, well you saw it in my whip parade, but I don't edit, so there won't be any other photos. But basically, I filled in all of this green alphabet, and then I came down here and I had the flowers done and the leaves, but I went in, I did all the stems, and then you can't see, but there's some very bright green little leaves there. So I did those. And then, having done my alphabet, the alphabet was fine. I came down, I found a mistake. So one of these somewhere is 1 stitch too close to each other. So basically this end is not the best end to be working and judging off of to work further down the sampler. So I came across to this end. I did this little corner thing. That was really fiddly. That took, oh, it's ridiculous. There's not much to it. Took quite a bit of time, took quite a bit of counting. Oh, this was the other issue I had with this. Not until I got down to here, but every single thing I've stitched, I have essentially had to frog and restitch again. So then I came down and I've done the church and the people. You can see I've left the grass just to fill in for when I don't want to think about anything. And I've done the tree and I've started on the boat. So I'm going to work my way across, I think. Yeah, I think I'm basically going to try and travel my way across to come up here to get this compass positioned correctly, to then be able to get this writing in. And it's up here, it says she's got it, so it's not best of photos. Up here is where her name and the year that she stitched it, and that's where I will sort of personalise it for my father. And then having done all of this bit, I can then work this piece because this is the end that's one stitch out, and it's only one stitch, but that's the sort of thing that just fries my brain. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. Didn't want to put it down, really didn't want to put it down, but thought, oh no, I better do. So then I went back to my Antrim's Folly. Heart's Ease Example Works, Trees of Bed, Antrim's Folly. So that is the, I don't think that is the original. Excuse me. So that is what she did. I am not doing this top section. This is a slightly more clearer picture. Now, last time I showed this to you, because this is absolutely huge. This is, again, 27 count, I think. And I have been on and off, because whilst I've got quite a bit done, I haven't got anything done compared to what I need, you know, to what there is on the chart to do. I do keep on thinking, should I really just restart it on a 32 or a 36? And then I pick it up, and actually there's a lot of stitching in here, and I really do just appreciate being able to stitch it easily in hand without any magnification and blah blah. So I think I'm going to stay where I am. But anyway, sorry. So on my 27 count, I think I showed last time that I had gone wrong. I've been doing the outline, trying to work my way from the bottom up to the top, so I could just get all the skeleton in, and then I could jump about where I wanted to go. And I basically had gone wrong. I got across, I was working that way across. I'd got across to here and I was one stitch out. I couldn't for the life of me work out where I'd gone wrong. So then at the Essex Needles retreat, I showed a Stitch Your Age, and we decided I'd gone wrong here, and then we worked out how I'd be able to fudge it. Because what I'd started doing was I'd started coming back here, and then I'd filled in the windows in this, and I'd filled in the window, and I was working my way back to try and find my mistake, and I essentially found it around about here. And I sort of said, well, if I can fudge the roof, I'm just going to leave it, fudge one tree one side, and it'll be absolutely fine. So I started working on this roof, which is this checkerboard roof. So there isn't really any room for maneuver. Can't change it very easily. So I was hoping that if that's okay, then that's fine. We'll just go with the flow. Well, it wasn't okay. It just was not going to work. And I then eventually found out that actually my mistake was on this line. I had one too many along here, which is why I pushed it all out. And so I went round and round the houses trying to work out how I was going to fix it. I was like, I'm just not. I'm going to have to rip it out. So the majority of the work that I did on this piece was actually to rip everything out. So I had two rooms, 2 windows and a door, 2 windows, gate, the fence, a bit of the wall, the start of the tree. Oh, so I ripped it all out, and then by the time I'd done that, I didn't want to look at the piece anymore, so that went away. So yeah, but at least now I know I'm back to square one. It's all where it should be, and I can then just start. Once I finish those sort of bare bone outlines, I can then just start jumping around as and when what takes my fancy. And those were actually, apart from, as I said, the Elizabeth Bentham, which I really only put a couple of threads into, so it's not worth showing. Those were the only cross-stitch pieces that I've worked on this month. I did get a piece of haul, and I got a piece of, happy mail is the wrong word, gift. I got a gift, which is very nice. So my haul, and this was, I've wanted this chart for ages, but it's one of those ones that you think, oh, yeah, I really like that, and then you forget about it. And actually I saw Laura on Brenda and the Serial Sample showed it. I do really like that, I must get it. And I found it at Pizza Needlework, so fantastic. Sue had it in stock, so I've ordered it, and it's a Threadwork Primitives Christmas Tide. And I love this, it's just so simple, but really nice. No plans as and when to start it. It was just something that I just wanted to have in my stash, because it's that, as I said, it's sort of chart that I see it every time and think, oh yeah, I must remember to buy that next time I put an order in. And I don't think it's all that easy to find. It's certainly not over here. The only place actually which did have it did have it was Peachside Needleworks. And even, I'm not even sure 123 Stitch had it, so they had a lot of thread work primitives, but I'm not sure they had this chart. And I think the rest of the places, it was sort of Etsy shops which were in America that were going to charge an absolute fortune. So for the last time, Peachside Needlework, as I said. So yeah, so that is a piece of haul. And then, as I said, on a Friday, I went down to London and I met with Chris, who is Bronte Stitcher on Instagram, and Stitchy Rach, who is also Stitchy Rach on Instagram and has a Flosstube channel here on YouTube as Stitchy Rach. And it was Chris's birthday that day. So I bought her a present. And then she gave Rachel and I a gift, which isn't really how birthdays work, but it was very, very kind of her. And essentially, she'd wrapped up 2 packages and she just said, you know, just pick whichever one you want and then you can sort out between yourselves if you'd rather have the other ones. And I think she had bought from Reflet de Soie a couple of kits that she had sort of bought deliberately to use as gifts to give people or what have you. And yeah, I was the lucky recipient of one of them. So I opened it up and I had a lovely box. Adele Combinage, something like that. And in the box, it's not packaged as nicely as it was when I opened it. Right. So we have some nice trim. Blue Ocean. I have a tea bag of flowers, basically. Rose tea bag, I think. Or not tea bag. Get the teapot out for that. And then, pretty card. The chart, which is lovely. It's very sweet. I'm not a huge one for alphabets. And in some ways, I'd almost rather do a chart which was just alphabets. But this is lovely, and it's quite small. 184 by 195. And I don't actually have an alphabet chart, so it's lovely to have this. And with it, quite excitingly, because I've never bought, used, or had any intention of getting this, is a little spool of Ouvre Assoir Pearl, number 12. Nice and shiny blue. I think Rachel's was green, her threads were green. So we actually happened to choose the right boxes because, you know, my favourite colour is blue and hers is green. And then I've got 103. And then this is silk. With various numbers on them, but these little blue skeins of, sorry, get my finger out of the way, all these lovely shades of blue. So, whilst it is a red sampler, mine will obviously be a blue sampler. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Really looking forward to it. Fascinated to use the threads because I am a DMC girl through and through. So, you know, it's not something I ever would have bought. So having the opportunity to use them is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it's just really pretty. Very sweet. So thank you very much, Chris. I did say thank you on the day. But yeah, how lucky am I? So that's it. That's it for the cross-stitching section. Sorry. I think basically my plans will be to try and work on quilts as much as I can, to put a bit more into my Antrim's Folly, and then see where the wind takes me. I'll just, as I said, towards the end of the month, I'm going to be starting to get busy, so my crafting time will be reduced. So yeah, I will just see what happens. Right, quilting wise, I have got my Etoile Rouge quilt hanging over a table in the lounge, and I'm currently hand tying it at the moment. So I didn't want to have to lift that up to bring you, but I've only done 4 or 5 of the blocks so far. Fingers crossed that will be finished by the end of this month. So the main bit of quilting work I have done a couple more of the diamonds on my Jane Austen quilt. So this is basically, you've got your centre medallion, and then you've got sets of 9 small diamonds make up one big diamond that you then piece together. I'm hand piecing this, and I'm using a fat quarter bundle of French General, I think it's Bonheur de Jour, with a couple of extra French Generals thrown in, and then a few browns as well. But essentially, I have, so you can't see from this because it's not clear enough, but this whole quilt is symmetrical from top to bottom and side to side. And what I've actually done here, not intentionally, was I've done 2 of the same blocks in their symmetrical forms as such. So this is one of them. And actually I think this sashing is thread work, it's primitive gatherings. Sorry, I was about to say thread work, primitives, that's cross stitch. It's primitive gatherings, this sashing. So that is the first one. And then this is the second one that I did. So there should be, which way will these, let's have a very brief look, see if I can tell really quickly. Oh, for goodness sake. 2, what have I got in here? 26. So just talk amongst yourselves a moment. So, right, so they are like that. So they are essentially, am I holding this upside down? No idea what I'm doing, can you tell? No, you see this blue should be opposite to this blue. Right, hang on a minute, just bear with me. 26, so that one goes that way, so then 50, no, so this is the bottom one. So then 10, right. This, so it should sit like this. Why? So I'm swinging back on my chair. If it suddenly collapses and I disappear, I do apologise. It really should be, I would have thought, what colour is that blue one? Number 1. So it should be bottom, oh maybe it's because, I'm looking at it, sorry. Right, okay, so that, and then this one should be, yeah. It'll be fine. I've followed it. I've followed the pattern and the diagrams. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it. Yeah. That's why, because it's a mirror image and I can't get my brain around it. But essentially, they should be symmetrical from each other. That way. Please let them be symmetrical from each other that way. Anyway, I'm hoping by the end of this month, I will have got, because I've got 3 or 4, probably 4 that are already done. So I'm hoping I will have essentially this first ring around the medallion done, so I can then hang it up behind me and you'll be able to see essentially what it's going to start looking like. And then we can decide, yeah, so can you see you've got the 4 blues just there, so. Anyway, now is not the time to sort that out, I'll look at that later. Right, so yes, other than tying my Etoile Rouge quilt and continuing on with making more of those, that is basically my quilting plan, or those are my quilting plans for this month. So knitting, which hopefully has been slightly more successful. So I have one finished object that I'm currently wearing. This is the Felix sweater by, no, it's the Felix pullover, Savoury Knitting, Amy Christophers, by Amy Christophers. So this is what it should look like. And again, I didn't get gauge. Rachel and Chris were basically taking the piss out of me. I don't know why you bother doing gauge swatch. It's almost as if you do a gauge swatch to make sure that you're not getting gauge and then carry on anyway. So I did a gauge swatch, and I think, what does it ask for in here? 14 stitches, and I was getting 16 or possibly 19. And so I played with all my needle sizes, going up and down, and every single needle size I came out with 19. So I'm just going to have to go with that then. So the yarn I used is Worth Mill Yarns from Saddleworth. It's the shade Khaki Nep, and it's basically 100% British wool. So that is the band. So you should see, so basically it's a top-down raglan in the round with these holes with this sort of a lace work pattern down the raglan increases. And if you're new here, I'm still a very new knitter. This is only the second jumper I've ever made. So the two things I learned to do within this jumper are a tubular cast on and wrap and turn. So I think the last jumper I did German short rows. This jumper I've done wrap and turns. I think I prefer German short rows. Personally, I think there seems to be less to them. You literally just turn it and work back, and when you get back to it, you just stitch it. Whereas with the wrap and turns, you wrap it, you turn it, you go back to it, and then you have to do a couple more things with the stitches when you get back to them on the next row. So to my mind, German short rows were just easier. But you know, it's always good to learn a new technique. It wasn't difficult. When I say learn it, I will still have to go onto YouTube every time I need to use it to get it back into my brain of how to do it. But anyway, this is the finished sweater. So stand up. As I said, I didn't get gauge. So hers is boxy and loose. It was recommended with seven inches of positive ease. Well, I haven't got 7 inches of positive ease, but equally again, I like it. I'm quite happy with it. Fits absolutely fine. I did go longer this time. The only slight issue I've had is when I blocked it and laid it out to dry. I didn't twist it when I was blocking it, but I do somehow seem to have made my stitches swerve off to one side. But yeah, it's a very light, it doesn't look that sort of, there you go, can you see it is quite a loose gauge, because basically I've got another yarn to show you in a minute, but I had 2 bags of these yarns that I'd bought because they were in a sale when I first started knitting and I didn't know what I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but I bought them and so I've got to use them. I need to find something that I can use these for. And I think this Felix pullover has actually worked in an Aran weight yarn. Well, this is is it DK? I think it's just a DK. So it's just that little bit thinner than the Aran weight would have been. But actually I really like it. It's the sort of jumper, I think because it's 100% wool, it's going to be warm anyway. And just that light, slightly more open gauge means that at this time of the year, it's absolutely great because you can stick it on over a t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt and it's not too heavy a jumper. Because I do find there are times of the year where you want to be just a little bit warmer, but not thick jumper warm. And so this will hit the bill. So I'm really pleased with it. Again, if I could get my gauge sorted out, that would be great. It was maths and I do not get on fantastically. And I did ask John, but I think I might have confused him. And it wasn't until this morning that I was thinking about it. I was thinking, yeah, I've just worked this completely from the wrong way. So the next jumper, hopefully, although I'm not sure I want the 7 inches of positive ease. Doesn't matter. It's done, it's dusted, it's finished. I like it, I can wear it. And I'm happy with it. And I've learnt new things whilst I was knitting it. So I have then since cast on the Sophie scarf because, you know, who hasn't? I've seen everyone knitting these and I really like them. And I do normally like to have something around my neck, but I don't like huge shawls. I was talking about this with Rachel. So she just wears the scarf, but she wears it quite loosely. I think all these shawls are absolutely lovely and they look so pretty and they're lovely to make. But by the time you've wrapped it 5 times around your head, you're almost bent forwards and your neck's stuck, you know. So I tend to prefer not to wear those. And it's just about finding a scarf that's the right sort of size so it's not puffing up everywhere. So I thought, right, I'm going to try the Sophie scarf. So far I have got this to show you, which doesn't look overly inspiring, but it is the Sophie scarf. So this is being knit with a yarn that yet again I bought a few years ago because it was pretty and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but it was pretty, so I wanted it. And so this is Coastal Colours, Luxury Hand-Dyed Knitting Yarns, Graham and Lindsay Langhorne in Lancashire. Now they were at a quilt show, which is when I first saw them, and I quite often see them. I'm fairly sure I see them at Malvern. I might not, but I'm fairly sure they were at Malvern last year as well. And I just remember the store, because actually it was at Duxford that I bought this, and I just remember the store with this huge, great big mound of skeins of yarn and a couple of people peering out over the top of it. And obviously I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted the blue because it was nice and I was touching it all and this felt the softest. So this is 4 ply, it's 100 grams, 400 meters, 70% alpaca, 20% silk and 10% cashmere, and it's lovely. Oh, so lovely. And it's just, yeah, it's just lovely. Oh God, it's just, even just sitting like this, it's really nice. So I started this 2 nights ago. So easy. So easy. I assume I'm doing it correctly. I think it's so easy. Yeah, I'm hoping, I'm leaving this section. I will hope to do this in the car on the way up to Derbyshire tomorrow. So I hope to have this finished by tomorrow. It's a little bit, so this is, I caked it up. It's a little bit lighter than initially I thought it was going to be, because I thought, oh, well, blues and greys are great because I do wear quite a lot of blue, or if I'm not wearing blue, blue will go with whatever I am wearing on the whole. But yeah, so that is the Sophie scarf that I have started. And then this is the other Coastal Colours skein that I bought from them at the same time. So you see, I had bought the 2 of them thinking, oh, I can do a fade. I'm not 100% convinced I shouldn't have done the Sophie scarf in this, but we shall see. Yeah, might do another one in this as well because it is that bit darker. But this is again 4 ply, 100. Oh, so sorry, 4 ply. I'm holding it double, one from the inside, one from the outside. This is 50% superwash SW, or for some reason I'm just looking at things Southwest. No, superwash. 50% superwash merino, 50% tencel. So I could use this for socks. I did think I could make myself a very nice pair of sort of bed socks, almost, you know, house socks. Or I could make myself a set. I don't know, we shall see, but I think, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think make this Sophie scarf first, see how much I wear it, and then I can make a second one out of that and then make some socks out of the leftovers. We shall see. The other, oh yeah, so the yarn, I had 5 balls of this yarn. I'll make a jump, I want to get it, I want to try and use as much as I've got at the moment. I'm just in one of those moods this year where I don't want to buy too much, I want to use as much as I've got. Use what I've got first. 2.5 balls this took, so I've got 2.5 balls of this left. And I think last video when I was talking about it, I was thinking, oh, I'm never going to have enough. I might only have to do 3/4 sleeves. plenty left over. And I've got 5 balls of exactly the same in steel. So again, this is another 100% wool, Wharf Mill yarns, 100% British wool, Saddleworth in steel. So once I finish recording this, I will be going to have a cup of coffee and look on Ravelry. I have got a few things saved. Now I know that in the gauge that I had, I have enough yarn to do something like this. Then yeah, I will be starting a new jumper to try and get some of this used. And then I should imagine at the end of it, I will end up making a green and grey stripy jumper to use the rest of the wool up. Right. Oh, the most important part of my knitting section, my day out in London at Loop. Oh, it was so much fun. So we arranged last October that we'd all just have a day trip to London and go to the Loop of London, which is in the the Islington area, the Angel Tube Station, I think. I don't know London very well. And we got it finalised and organised, so we all headed down on the day. As I said, I met Chris, who is the Bonty Stitcher, and Rachel Stitchy Rach. We went and had a coffee. They drank theirs. I threw most of mine over myself and over the table because you really can't take me anywhere, to be quite honest with you. And then we went into Loop of London and oh God, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. Colours, yarn, everything everywhere. I've been watching a lot of knitting podcasts and I hear all the names of these yarns being bandied about. And, you know, I recognise the names, but I've never seen them. You don't get them in Hobbycraft, funnily enough. And they were just, yeah, the walls were full of them. It was so interesting to see them all, to be able to touch them all, to actually look at them. And Chris is a long time, very, very good knitter. She used to work at Loop and she does an awful lot of their display items. She knits up a lot of their patterns. So we're walking around the shop and I said, oh, that's lovely. She went, oh, yeah, I knitted that. Oh, look, that piece is great. Yeah, no, I knitted that too. So basically she had knitted most of the things that were on display in the shop, I think. But it was also really good to have somebody that knew what they were doing standing next to me. So I'd sort of pick up a yarn and go, oh, this is lovely, I could do the so-and-so with it. No, that's not what you would use that for. Okay. Anyway, so I had gone with the mindset that, you know, I wasn't going to buy a jumper's worth of yarn because I wanted to use up what I've got. But having said that, having been to Luton, I wanted to get something. So I opted for sock yarn. Surprise, surprise. And I'm on a stripy sock yarn kick at the moment. Not that I've actually made any yet. But that is my next plan. And so I bought this, it's Echo's Gusto Wool. 80% merino wool, 20% nylon, superwash. Oh, made in Turkey. Look at that. Look at that. So these are 2 separate skeins. So I think this could be my first toe up stripy sock, so I can keep going, because this is something I find with my socks is that I follow Crazy Sock Lady, Vanilla Sock, Magic Loop, absolutely love it. I'm always left over with quite a lot of sock yarn at the end of it, and I would like my socks to be probably a couple of inches longer, but I'm also a little bit scared that I'm not actually going to have enough yarn to do that. So it will be really interesting having 2 separate skeins to be able to work from the toe up and see how high you can actually go with the amount that you've got in here. So that's the first one. I mean, look at those. Oh, just fantastic. Just fantastic. And then the second one I bought was Kremke Soul Wool Lazy Lion super soft sock yarn from South African Merino. 75% wool, 25% nylon. Oh, Lazy Lion, I suppose, is the name of it. But to my mind, this is Christmas sock knitting. Look at all the colours in that. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So yes, so I'm very happy with my 2 stripy sock yarns. And I look forward to casting those on and working out. Certainly with this one, I will have to obviously ball it in 2 halves. I've got to go and watch a video how to, well, not how to ball it in 2 halves, but to know, you know, it's going to be the starting point for me that I'm going to find difficult. So working out how to do that, go and find a few videos to find out how to do that. Obviously, we got a bag. Who doesn't like a bag? And then the other thing I bought, and I bought 2 of these, was I bought some barber cords, which have been absolutely fantastic. I've used them. I'd got to a set point where I wanted to be able to try this on a couple of days before I went to Loop, and I thought, no, just wait, buy the barber cords. It'll be so much easier. And they are just a godsend. They're just, oh, it's so easy, so simple. They're great. And I actually bought, they had 2 different types on the counter. So they had the petite knit in bags like this, or they had another brand, I don't know whose it was, that were in a tin. And they were essentially brightly coloured. But I think you only got 1, possibly, in that tin. Whereas in these petite knit ones, they're sort of, you know, boring is the right word, but, you know, just white and beige. That's absolutely fine. 5 pieces, you've got 3 of 1 metre lengths and 2 of 1.5 meters. And so these are great. You just stick them onto the end of your needle, and then you just take all your stitches off, tie them in a knot. And so I put the sleeves on hold. I could try it on, do it around. Yeah, it was just, they're absolutely fantastic. So I actually bought 2 of these, and I was very surprised considering they're petite knit and considering you've got 5 separate pieces of barber cord in here. They were £3. I bought 2 bags because I'm bound to lose some. So yes, so very pleased with those as well. So it was a fantastic day. Once we'd been in Loop, we were in there for well over an hour. Once we'd finished Loop, we then went and had lunch at this, was it Turkish restaurant possibly? I can't remember now. Anyway, yeah, that was very nice. That was great. And then Chris's daughter Millie came and joined us because she was going to spend the afternoon with her mother because it was her birthday. So it was lovely to meet her. She was also running in the marathon, and randomly enough, having only met her once in completely different circumstances, I think I did spot her running down the streets of London. My own partner I've been with for 25 years, blind as a bat, couldn't see him at all. But Millie, I was like, I'm sure that was Millie. And she did message her mum saying, I think I saw your friend. So yeah, so we had a lovely lunch, and then we wandered down to another fabric store. I can't remember the name of it. It was much more haberdashery, curtains, dressmaking, that sort of thing, rather than quilting, but it was nice to go and see it. And then I moseyed on home with my stash, sitting on the train, stroking my yarn. So that's it. Considering I haven't had a lot to show you, I have managed to drag this out for a good 43 minutes. So, thank you for watching. Thank you if you are still here watching. And I hope to be back at the beginning of June with more progress on everything. And yeah, have a good May. I hope the weather improves for everybody. I have to say, we have had a good week this week, apart from Friday. So I've spent a lot of time out in the garden trying to get things sorted and tidied and organised, and it's looking quite good. So I'll be back out there later on. So yeah, have a good bank holiday. Have a good May. And I will see you, hopefully, in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. Take care. Bye.